Today is one of those unusual days because we are having a workshop for 7 people. One person is still due to arrive. It's like the old times before the lockdown. Before the lockdown, we used to do 2 classes a month where we took between 8 to 10 people for 2 days a month. So I was going through about 18 to 20 people a month. But because of the lockdown, I haven't been able to do that. So there's a backlog of nearly 200 people waiting to get on the class. So you are some of the first who are in the queue. So if you don't mind, we'll do a little video to just give our viewers a taste of what goes on in the class. So David, if you come around with me, there is quite a variation of the levels of bonsai people are at. And if I may introduce you, Sia, I know from, he's done a workshop with me. So he's done a one-to-one workshop not so long ago, maybe about a month ago. And he's brought a very challenging plant for me. I'll ask him the history of this, and we will do that on the workshop. And on the other hand here,
Noah.
He's grown this sweet chestnut from seed. It's only 1 year old. Look at it. It's nearly about 50 centimeter tall. 1 year old. And he's brought this to me to make a bonsai. So we'll show you what you can do with this. Some plants have potential, some have less potential. I never say that a plant has no potential. It's like human beings. Everyone has potential, whether it's a high level or low level, and it can be developed. So I will use this as a challenge. And you've brought this as an indoor tree. Have you had this long?
About 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, it's one of the ones I haven't killed.
Okay, no, because this, I asked you that because this particular tree, the Carmona is an exceedingly difficult subject.
Right.
So I will explain to you, but there's not much to do on that on a workshop.
Correct.
And the others haven't brought anything. Usually on a workshop we have people of mixed abilities, some from absolutely scratch. Please raise your hand if you've never done bonsai before, never made a bonsai before. Okay? All right, that's very good start, very good start. We always say, like in any of the other arts, I pursue swimming and dancing. They say that if you develop bad habits from a previous existence, or you've been learning yourself or learning from others, sometimes the bad habits are very hard to correct. So it's better to start from scratch. So you get to do it in ways which are easy to access. So I'm going to take you through the entire process. Usually, for those who are more advanced about trees, I think you're the only person here, if I may say so. That is virtually a beginner's tree. I will get you started on that. But let me just show you what we normally do. We usually take you to the back and find material that you can make bonsai from. Now this is what we call starter material. Starter material means material that can be used for making bonsai. Just because a starter material is small doesn't mean that all starter material is small. If you go to our growing fields, we've got starter material that are 6 feet high, trunks which are about 20, 30 centimeter wide. So that is also starter material. It's just that they haven't been made into bonsai yet. But for beginners, I like to teach them how to use the starter material to make into bonsai. Those of you who watch my videos will know that the famous Christmas tree, this is very, very good starter material. You will be able to make it into an instant bonsai in next to no time. These pines also, if you are after a pine, these can also be used for making bonsai. So virtually all this stuff can be used for making into bonsai. So, but what I would like most of you beginners to do is to learn how to wire. So I'm going to pick out a few. Those, in fact, except for Sia, I think I would like each of you to take one of these, so that's 5, is it? To wire these trees to make a bonsai with it. So if you folk kindly come and grab these, 5 of you, 4, 5, take one of those. Please take one and then we will go in and show you the basics of wiring. Alright, so there you go. They're all the same. They're all the same. They're all the same. And we'll show you the basics of what I'm saying. Okay.
And I chopped the top off.
Yeah.
And at the time, I turned it into a semi bonsai.
Yeah.
Then my life changed, and I wasn't about, and this stayed in my friend's garden
Yeah.
for 10 years, and he wasn't a bonsai man.
Okay.
So I never got it back last year. And I'm kind of lost in what I
Okay.
want to do with the shape.
Lots of things to do. First of all, give it a good clean. So
So get rid of the
bark, and then we will brush it up, because if we put the wire on it, we won't be able to do it afterwards. Here is cleaning the bark off, and then we go and brush it. See how nice it looks underneath, huh? It's like giving a person a new look, brush up.
haircut.
Not haircut, just cleaning their body.
Can you wind me into a better shape
Okay.
as well?
Okay, when you come to the top, this
Here's what I should be doing here, because there's like a little wall of new shoots coming out.
you're done round. Okay, now the next stage is to make the S. Now making the S is not as difficult as you think. Now, you know what the letter S is? Letter S is literally like that. Huh? But when we make a bonsai, we don't make the S just flat. We make the S three-dimensional. So the three-dimensional S is literally a coil that you open out. It's still an S, but you see it's got a back and front. That means it's got depth as well. So think of it as a coil that you're going to open out. So if you're going to make a coil, how do you make a coil? Stirring a pot. That's the action. Okay, I always use that analogy because if you watch me do it, I'm literally going to stir the pot. There. And that changes the shape completely. Okay, so, and we won't plant it like that, we're going to plant it at that angle, so the tree will look like this. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So I undo it, you do it again. Stir the pot, don't be afraid. The tree won't break. It has to leave space, so anything that is going to block the space, we can take off. But don't think of taking it off until you've chosen the branch. Okay, so I can probably use that branch and this branch, you see? These two branches.
Right.
And then I can remove that. and
The
create
ones that are
space.
close, and the ones in the ones in the front get cut away as well, right?
Yeah. But wire these and then you will see the space. Or even this can be wired. See, that will create space, and that is the
And
third one.
and then we take this one off. the
Yeah.
one that's
No,
in the
no,
back.
don't think that far. Just
Don't
wire
think
those-
that far. Okay.
Now, one step at a time. Wire those two branches in place, and then we come to that. Let me just get some more for you. Yeah, this is going to be a very critical stage. Don't. A lot of people are so excited that they think too far ahead. Okay, don't, careful, you're jumping the gun. Now, I'll tell you why you're jumping the gun. You're using the wrong grade of wire. That wire is
Okay.
too thick. All
Okay.
right? That, you see, these branches are very thick, so I use that grade of wire. These branches are much thinner, so you don't need that. Huh?
Yeah.
So this will probably damage it or won't be effective. So that is why we have so many grades. We have 20 different grades of wire. So you got to match the grade of wire for the thickness of branch. So this one, I think this grade of wire will probably do. So let's probably do this. Do these two branches. I'll
Sorry.
just show you these, those two.
So what have you done now? Okay.
I'm just choosing two branches. Then I'll show you why I've done that. Okay. Just turn back here. Okay, so now those two are level. Once I've got that level, now I can remove these branches
In between.
because I've got that space. That I would need because that, otherwise if I remove that, there will be too much gap. Now that's too close. Okay, so let me, have you got any scissors or anything?
What kind of scissors?
All my scissors?
Do you use?
Yeah, that's okay, you can, okay, right. Okay, so now I've got those two levels, so I can remove this. because I've got that space, but I don't need this space. That is also too close, because when I put this down, that's going to be too close. You see how I analyze? Huh? So I've created the space. It's very important to leave spaces between. Now that is already done. I don't need this one now, do I? Make sense? Because I've got the space. So the object is to create space all the time.
And then away this one here.
Yeah, why that way? Now, because that is on its own, that's what we call it. You can either wire this one, or if I get rid of this, it's in the wrong place really. You've got a situation where you've got 3 branches. How do I wire 3 branches? Wire the new one to an existing wired branch. So you wire this one, and then also put a bit of wire on the other one that you've already done.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
you're still using the 2 branch principle.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
wire that one. Very good. You see the shape is coming along. The shape for all your trees is coming along very nice. You happy so far?
Clean up.
Yeah.
That's looking good.
Once this way, you have to take some decisions. Place it down, place it next one. Wire those and then eliminate it. Alright? Okay, when you guys have finished that bit of wiring, I just want to show you what Sierra is doing. When we have a multiple class like this, meaning lots of people doing a class, this is not typical. Some of my classes, people are all at different levels. Some are better than others or have more experience than others, and they're all doing different projects. This is a very interesting project, you must admit. It's rather advanced. I'm going to show you a little technique which you may have seen on my YouTube videos, where I make driftwood. If you look around the nursery, there are a lot of trees with dead wood. You know the white wood effect? And you see those tanuki, I've got that tanuki, that's false wood. But sometimes bonsai have a lot of driftwood, dead wood. Now dead wood is normally found in nature, but you can also create it artificially. Because this is such an old tree, that bit of thing was a bit of dead wood as well. So that is rotted away, but we can still make, rather than eliminate all these pieces, I could easily get rid of all this. I could easily get rid of it. But because it's a juniper, junipers have that characteristic of making dead wood. In nature, dead wood does occur. Now, let me explain to you another little point about this tree. This is an interesting tree because it is old and it already has quite a lot of character. The first thing I need to decide on this tree is which is going to be the front and which is going to be the back. Sometimes the front can end up as the back because circumstances change or you see a new perspective. This is a very interesting tree. Let me ask the owner, which do you regard as the front? Tell me in all honesty, which you regard as the front? And I'll give you my opinion. The front is the side that looks nicest. You have a body, you have a face, you have a back.
Yeah, up to now, I've been using this as a front because it's leaning towards
Okay,
me.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's generally lost its shape.
Okay.
So it's not quite 100%. But I think leaning.
All right. Okay. Now I want you all to have a close look and tell me your honest opinion. You look at this side, and you tell me which is going to front. It doesn't need to be that side or that side. It can even be this as the front because the tree has 360 degrees.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Why?
The base kind of
Why?
flares out on the left.
You see more
More.
trunk.
More tree. That's
Trunk
more
is more interesting.
branches. More interesting. Straight away, what you regarded as the back could be a front because it looks interesting for some
Yeah.
reason. Normally, we have the front which is more open and the back we have more branches because back branches acts as a foil for the front. It sets off the front. Now, this was the back and that's why it had more branches at the back, that back. But if you look at this tree, these bits don't look as interesting as these bits.
Mhm.
And that is why you very rightly said this could be the front. Okay. You said that because it leans that side, but you got this thing leaning this way.
Yeah,
So this is
exactly.
okay. So
Yeah.
let me begin by not having so much confusion. We just reduce the length of some of these.
Job I trust Peter.
I don't give refunds.
I love it. Yeah, but you can never go wrong, can you? It's always there's going to be a shape in the end, no matter what.
I mean, you can take the pieces cutting off home if you.
You see how interesting it is once you start getting into big trees. And for those of you who are just starting your bonsai learning experience, never be put off by a big tree. A big tree has just got more branches to wire. You could be doing a big version of that. You know those 3-4 foot trees and end up with a very big tree at your level. It's that's that you got to do more wiring. All right, so never be put off by this size of the tree. All right, this is interesting because there are a lot of branches, and these bits which one would normally get rid of because they're dead, we're going to make into driftwood. And when we make driftwood, we try to make the branches appear as if the storm has damaged them. So when we make that, we try and make a tear rather than just cut the branch like that, which looks uninteresting. I made a little nick at the back, and then I will tear the wood back so that I get a torn texture. Where's my gin pliers? That one. I'm going to tear that bit of wood, so it doesn't appear as if it's just cut. Can you see the texture? See, rather than just cutting, I got that torn effect. Okay? So we do it with most of the things. And if the wood is alive, the bark comes off easily. So this is how we make driftwood or gin. Gin is a Japanese word which is pointing to heaven. So that's a bit of driftwood. You see how nice it looks, huh? That torn texture. So you can do that torn texture to all these bits of dead wood, even this one here. So this one, I'm making the torn texture face the front. Now this is the front of the tree, so I make a cut at the back, a little sloping cut at the back. And then I will tear that piece of wood. See, like that, you see, you get that torn effect. That's what I'm trying to create all the time. Huh? So all these bits, you can now do it, huh?
Yeah.
If you just make a cut, they don't all have to be the same length.
Okay.
Just do a little cut like that, and
Yeah.
then tear it, then you learn how to do the gins. Okay, so all these dead ones, all these you're going to make gins. So you're going to have a lot of gins, and you won't recognize the tree at the end of the lesson. Okay, carry on. All right. Yeah, very nice. Classic one, like classic shape. So this S shape you can apply to almost any tree that can be wired. But as we say, they're very stiff trees like maples, we seldom wire, but conifers lend themselves to wiring. Pines wire well, junipers do well. So most of the conifers lend themselves to the S shape. But sometimes we also do maples in an S shape, like this one. See, this is also wired in an S shape. But to get that S shape, we are wiring when the branches are, or the trunk is that thin. Once it gets to this stage, it becomes almost impossible. So that's how you do this. So you can apply it to anything, but you've got to just use your common sense. Huh?
Sorry, I stole the thing.
Okay. Now what do you want to wire? Maybe just 6? But then if you no, don't need it. Cut it down, make a gin.
Yeah.
You think so? Press your finger in. Scrape it. sure the position is right. Don't let it sink too low. Maybe you may need some soil at the bottom. And if you guys really want to make it complete, David will show you we have some moss. Put moss on top of it. Right. That is the nature of the tree.
Yeah.
You can make it into an S shape if you wish.
At this age.
If it was earlier on in the year, I would have removed all the leaves and the second lot of leaves would have come out a bit smaller.
Yeah.
But it's now the autumn, so if I remove the leaves now, you may not get the second crop of leaves.
Right.
But at least we get the structure. Again, we have to use thickish wire to bend it. As I say, not every tree has to be bent into an S, you know. But the S shape makes it more interesting
Mm-hmm.
rather than just straight. Okay. See, these are all potential buds,
Yeah.
and they will become branches next year. So now I'm going to make you one. Now you don't have to wire. You do it. See, beauty
And this
of
is
animal-
enough. This is enough to hold
Perfect,
the wire in the
perfect,
shape.
perfect.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so I want you to just put it in there, like how you did it. Anchor it, and
Yeah.
then start it off, and then try not to trap these buds. Okay, keep it tight, really tight,
Okay.
and go all the way up. Yeah, that's the right spacing. Very good spacing. Good. And then go on to this one.
Going to which one?
This one.
This one, the tall one.
Yeah, good. Good. Very good. Lovely tree. Lovely tree. I love it.
I'm gonna put my juniper.
See, these you can more like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
Very nice.
Peter, is it okay?
Yes, yeah, sure.